countries. South is a term for developing countries. So Viksit Desh and jo Vikashsheel Desh. So their gap, their divide which has been growing. And secondly, the polarization that we see today between the what you can call the East and the West, particularly as a result of the Ukraine conflict. So you have an East-West problem, you have a North-South problem. Guess who is in the middle? That's us. It is our responsibility today to find a way of bringing the world together, and we are confident of discharging this responsibility precisely because, as I said, we have today a respect in the world coming from our governance, coming from our economy, coming from our technology, coming from our independent foreign policy stance. So that sense today that this is a fair India, a generous India, a connected India, that these people will conduct their presidency responsibly, taking every view into account and find a landing ground which will be acceptable to everybody. That is today the task before the G20. Now, I had mentioned the world is a very difficult place, and it is a difficult place because, as I noted, we had a once-in-a-century pandemic, COVID, and COVID has had a terrible consequence across the world. You know, there are parts, in India at least we have recovered in many ways. I must tell you, many parts, many countries have not been able to recover the manner in which we have. Secondly, the conflict, because again, it has shown today how much the world matters to us. That a conflict is taking place in Ukraine, an entire continent away. And that conflict is today creating problems in fuel cost, in availability and prices of food grains, in the access to and the price of fertilizers. It is actually creating inflation across the global economy. So the COVID, 3 years of COVID, a year of this conflict, already large parts of the world were struggling with debt issues, trade issues. And then we are seeing more and more climate events. And climate events of a very large kind, which actually impact an entire economy, entire country, sometimes an entire continent. So how is this reflected? We are seeing this in the challenges that we have to address. The debt and inflation, I spoke to you. By the end of this decade, we are supposed, all the developing world, we should have attained what are called sustainable development goals. That means better health, better education, better literacy.
All right, so that's S. Jaishankar, in fact, addressing just ahead of the G20 summit. He speaks about India's COVID fight as well as several challenges as far as Indian economy is concerned, and that India is embracing change.